That night after we ate, Momo Bay came back to the table with a worn old Bible. She was so happy. My heart ached at the thought of telling her we'd be leaving soon. Master Ailey showed him how paper talks. Show him, Pink, she said. He took out a pair of spectacles from his pocket and opened the Bible to the Psalms of David and started to read. His voice was steady and had such wonder. Just hearing them words made pictures come to my head. I surely do wish I could read, I announced to them without thinking. When Pink saw I was ashamed, he took my hand. I'll teach you, say. Some one day, I'll teach you. I could feel my face flushing up. Then I spoke up. I've done something important, I announced. Of course you have, child, of course you have, his mother said. I touched Mr. Lincoln's hand. It were near Washington. We were quartered there just before Bull Run. The president himself were shaking everyone's hands, and I just put my hand right out. And he took it? Pink asked. Yep, he took it, I answered. Now there's a sign, ain't it? He said, smiling broadly. Touch my hand, Pink. Now you can say you touched the hand that shook the hand of Abraham Lincoln. Next best thing to touching him, Momo Bay said in wonder. Most of the next day, Pink was studying an old map. Mortars don't fan out further than 30 miles or so from their camps. If they come here, then their units must be that close. We gotta get south of the river. See here, say? That's where my troops were headed. We can meet up with them about here, I figure. Meet up with who? You ain't leaving. His mother's voice caught as she came upon us. Now, my mother, you knew we couldn't stay here. You had to know that, he said as he tried to calm her. No, no, my babies, my dear babies, she cried. She was inconsolable for a time. Then she sat still and afeared as she just listened. Mother, this war has to be won, or this sickness that has taken this land will never stop. Pink always called slavery the sickness when we talked. We have to go. He knelt at her feet. By the look that came into her eyes, she knew that this day was coming. I could feel my breathing catch. My chest was heavy. My hands were sweating, and I felt sick at my stomach. I knew that I had to tell Pink something. I just didn't know how. That night, I couldn't sleep. What's wrong, child? Momo Bay said from her chair. I don't want to go back, I blurted out. I know, child, she said. Of course you don't. You don't understand. I took up and run away from my unit. I was hit when I was running. I sobbed so hard my ribs hurt. I'm a coward and a deserter. She looked at the fire and said nothing for the longest time. Then her voice covered my cries. You ain't nothing of the kind. You's a child. A child. Of course you scared. You ain't nobody that ain't. I'm not brave like Pink. I'm not brave. Child, being brave don't mean you ain't afeared. Don't you know that? I don't want to die. They's things worse than death, child, but you got nothing to fear. You are here now, and I'm hugging you up. You gonna be an old man someday. When it is your time, the sweet Lord'll send a hummingbird to fly your soul to heaven. Now, you ain't afeared of hummingbirds, are you? Her words brought me sweet sleep. That night, I dreamt of hummingbirds in green pastures full of sunlight and wildflowers.